Hey guys, welcome to another pen review, a new pen day. Today we'll be talking about this pen over here. So you'll see that I have the same nails just because I'm filming this back to back. This is the Hongdian C2. So if you can see, says so on the finial here. Hongdian C2, and it also has this other word that it says Lan Tian. I don't know what that means. So Hongdian is a fountain pen maker from China, and from what I gather, its name means red dot. But again, I don't speak Mandarin and I don't read and write simplified Chinese, so I have no idea if that's really what it is. But from what I've heard, and from what Google Translate tells me, that's what it is. So this is a metal body pen. It retails for around that $20 to $30 mark normally, and it comes in a variety of nib sizes. It has a snap cap closure and a number 5 sized nib. It posts quite securely, and it's not actually back weighted. It feels quite nice in the hand. I picked this green color. There are multiple other colors. I'm not a poster, so I wouldn't be posting the pen here and there. And it can post quite securely, but you do need to push it in. And I don't like it when there's like a ring around the back here if the lacquer chips off, so I wouldn't be doing that. The cap itself is heavier than the rest of it, but because the pen is a little bit front weighted when you write without the cap at the back, then it feels like it's balanced overall. It's quite a light pen actually. I wouldn't say that this is a heavy pen by any means. It's certainly lighter than other metal pens that I have are within this size range. So the interesting thing about that is then I'm not sure what kind of material they use to make this, because it's obviously not going to be titanium, for example, which is an expensive metal. So maybe it's but it's not heavy enough to be steel either. So maybe some aluminum alloy is my best guess. It has a flower-like design. I think it's like supposed to be probably one of those Chinese knots maybe, or just a general flower design on the nib. There you go. And when I bought this, I only saw the option for extra fine and fine, and I don't like writing with fine nib. So I'm actually going to show you guys how to switch this out as well in this tutorial or pen review thing. They use a cartridge converter system. As you can see, this is just your typical Hongdian cartridge converter system. And the great thing about this is that the bore here is actually about 3.2 mm. It's a little bit bigger than standard international cartridges. So just an FYI, if you put a cartridge in here, it might not fit in unless you get the ones that are from China. They're usually a little bit bigger on the opening. But so I don't really like these converters because they kind of take a long time to clean. You have to do this many times, and my fingers get quite tired out of it. So I will also be showing you how to switch this out for another converter that I think is a lot easier to use and also to clean out your pen with. But let's do a quick writing sample with this one here. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to dip the pen and then write something with it so you guys know sort of how that fine nib writes. And then later I will show you how to switch it out to another nib and then also to switch out the converter system. So I'm going to use this sample. This is TWSBI Black. I got this from a small store where I'm at, and I'm just gonna dip a little bit of it in here. Saturate that out. And I got a little bit of it on this band where my fingers would touch. So let me just wipe that off. And I'm not gonna wipe off the nib just because I don't want to accidentally pull out all the ink that I've just dipped. So it looks like that. So very quickly, let me just cap this. Don't want TWSBI Black to be everywhere on my desk. And we'll give this a, so we have the Hongdian. This is the C2, and I have it in a dark green. It almost showed up like a black green in the listing. And what I'm finding right now, you can push a little bit of line variation in it. So a little bit of line variation. And this fine is actually writing a bit like a medium, I find. So A, B. I'm feeling a little bit of feedback in here. Don't mind the penmanship. H, I, J, K. So I didn't expect it to write all of that with one dip, to be honest. That was actually very, very quick. It is quite soft, I find. And it is quite wet as well. I'm going to try it on a next piece of paper. This one. Let's just use this. And you can see it absorbed quite a bit here. So this would have actually been decently wet, I think. I just don't want to use my finger to touch it, actually. Hold up. I have a glove lying around. I can just use the glove. I'm going out to dinner after, so I don't want to. Oh, you can see. It's pretty wet. And it's very smooth with a little bit of feedback. And yeah, does it skip? No skipping at all. So really nice pen, actually. I really like the nibs from Hongdian. I think that they are really stellar for the price of them, and they definitely outperform other pens within the same price range. So yeah, really, really enjoying this. It does look a bit like a medium, doesn't it? So let's just compare really quick. So this is the fine. Let's just use a random word like, I don't know, marker. Or actually, let's just write fountain pen. Okay, so this is fountain pen with the Hongdian C2. So we're gonna write that down there. And then let's compare it with another Hongdian pen. So we have this one, which is the H3. And this one I have in a, what does that say there? In an extra fine. So let's compare. So that definitely is finer than the fine. But if I were to compare it with, let's just say this is the Jinhao 10, and I don't know if it's going to write because it's been a while. Oh, it is writing great. This is the, it is thicker. So definitely this one is thicker than this fine nib pen. So how does it compare to a medium? I'm going to compare it to this one. This is my Visconti Rembrandt in the Ecologic. So yeah, I would say these two are actually comparable. Very comparable. I don't know if that's because I dipped it, so it has a lot of ink flowing there. It might actually perform a little bit differently. Just to come up for comparison, I'm also going to compare it to these two. These are broads. This one is a double broad from Stipula. Which really doesn't write like a double broad at all. To be quite honest, I would not recommend this particular pen if you're looking for that experience. If you're looking for something that's a little bit on the thinner side, then yes. This is also this is a broad, not a double broad, and it's from Opus 88. All right, I'm gonna take off this glove now. It's getting in the way. Makes it difficult to kind of hold the pens actually. And I'm stuck. Okay, got out. All right, so we have these ones here. You can see that it's more similar to an M. So like I said before, I prefer broader nibs. I'm gonna actually try to change this out now with something else, just because that was what I was originally planning to do. I might lose some of the springiness, so I might change it back if this happens to be a better nib, but we'll see. So right now I'm just gonna wash that one out in a little cup of water, and then taking my tissue from before, just wiping it. Okay, so I'm just going to take out the back right now. So this might be a bit too distracting, so let me take this off. It's the great thing about Rhodia notepads. They just tear so easily. I'm gonna flip this to the back just because don't want to waste paper. Let's use both sides. I'm going to pop this off, and first I'm going to change the converter. So as you can see, this is like a plunger system, right? But it's not spring loaded, which I have found from TWSBI pens that those are great. So I bought a pack of these, and they were only about like a few dollars each. And they're supposed to be syringes. So as you can see, you have these little parts. You have a spring loaded converter, you have a little syringe, and you have an adapter to put the syringe needle, it's a blunt needle, so don't worry about it, in here, and so you can suck up all the last ink that you need. However, I am not going to use it for that purpose, so I'm just going to take away these little bits over here, put them back in the bag, and the great thing about these is that they're also like a 3.5 mm bore over here, and so they will fit no problem onto these pens, which is great because I am going to now remove it. So I'm just going to hold it with some tissue just in case the TWSBI black is still in there, and I'm just going to pop it out, just unscrew it, and it should come out just like that, and then you will have a nib. Put that aside for now. I also threw in a nib in this section. So I bought these Hongdian nibs. I quite enjoy their nibs, and also they're not overly expensive, and they're already in the housing, so I don't have to remove the nib and the feed from the housing. I don't have to yank it out and then stuff another one in. It's already in the proper housing, and this is going to thread right in, so it will have the exact same threading system. So this is how they ship it, which is fantastic, keeps it safe. Unscrew that. I have this. I don't have one in silver, so I'll just use this one. And you can see that both of these have the same threading at the bottom, which is great. Got a little bit of ink on my nail. So I'm just going to interchange it out, put this one back first. This one can go into another pen and close. So I'll mark this off later that this one is for this from the C2. Then taking this new one, just gonna slot it in like so. And this one is a medium, which writes like a slightly thicker medium, which is great if it is the same as the other ones. So, whoops, dropped it. The converter. So this one fits right in as well. Just making sure everything is tight. And it's great. And this will be so much easier to clean. Like when you're actually cleaning, just hold it and plunge in and out, and you'll clean things so much faster than if I had to turn it every single time. So I'm actually going to ink this up, and what I'm going to use today is this, which is from Vinta Inks. It is Arnabelle, and it has a lot of shimmer in here, not a lot of sheen actually, which is surprising because a lot of my Vinta inks have sheen. So it comes like this, in a little sort of medicine bottle looking thing. And I'm just gonna gently roll it a little bit. So while this is going, how's everyone's day? I'm just filming a couple of videos today. I did some work. It is the weekend, but you know, work never stops. And then I'm going out to dinner tonight. There's a new restaurant that opened up. It's having a discount promo right now for this month. So I'm excited to give it a shot. And I want to get all this shimmer down. And I know you shouldn't shake your inks, but like, I do not have the patience for this. All right, great. So let's move that out of the way. Let's uncap. Oh, I hate it when this happens because that means I have to kind of lift it up. And that's like a chance for things to get everywhere. I should have kept the glove on. Okay, let's just put that back in. Use the pen to kind of stab it back in. And then let's hope that I haven't lost all of my shimmer already. But there we go. Just gonna plunge it up twice. Not gonna do multiple steps because it's like quite deep inside. Wipe off the excess and it's filled. So just let's wipe the sides here. And you can see on that paper, oh my God, that is a lot of shimmer, which is exactly what you expect from Vinta inks. So really wiping it down. I don't want to get any on my fingers because I don't want to be like washing my hands forever before I head out tonight. All right, so once again, that's Vinta Arvenal. Okay, toss these papers out the way and let's close it up. All right, so now we're ready to write the second one, and we can also compare it to what we had before. The cap's just right over here. And again, this is the Hongdian C2. This nib is definitely stiffer. This is an M, it's changed. So it's very different. This nib has no line variation. It is not a skipper, so it's a no skips. And it's a wet writer as well. I'm not going to show it this time just because when you do this, you can already see it kind of pools the ink. So you already know that's quite a wet writer, and it's smooth with less feedback actually than the previous nib that I had. All right, so we can actually compare how they look like, right? So I'll write a couple ABCs here. Not all of them, just that's enough, right? Okay, let's move this up and let's compare between the two. They're actually quite comparable, aren't they? This medium doesn't seem like it's that much different than this over here. So let's flip it back. And we wrote fountain pen, fountain pen, fountain pen down here. Let's actually try writing it above what it was. And as you can see, it's really not that much of a difference. I don't think I had to change it, actually. Look at that. It's like a tad bit more thick than here, but almost nothing. And then you also lose the line variation. So because of that, I'm going to change this back. And I'm going to keep the original nib. So just keep in mind that your Hongdian C2's original nib is bouncy, and the fine nib writes like a medium. All right. So with that, my final thoughts on this pen is it's a really good pen. I think it's one of the better pens that I've reviewed recently. It is a very simple design, so it's not gonna have issues like, let's just say, the piston breaking or something like that. It's a very standard, I guess, beginner-friendly fountain pen, and this is a great pen to have around to like pen-able people, but also just as a daily writer. The cap feels very secure, and overall, I think I would recommend this pen as long as I haven't seen any issues with like leaking, and most of my Hongdians don't dry out, which is very good. The seal is usually quite good on these, so even after 2 weeks, they usually write right out of the, like right when I start, and there's no hard starting issues. Ooh, I do realize that there's a little bit of a mark on here, a little scuff. I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but not that big of a problem, right? Shouldn't matter. So for a quick size comparison, I'm just going to compare it to this one over here. Let's actually use a little board so we can see everything. So putting this one in the middle, we have this next to it. That is the Pilot Metro. I'm going to also compare it to the Jinhao because that is a similar, it's basically exactly the same size as the Pilot Vanishing Point. And then I will lastly compare it with something that's a little bit bigger, which is the Opus 88. So if I were to compare them like this one's definitely the longest because when you click it, it just comes out. You don't have any caps, but it's slightly bigger than the Pilot and it's smaller than the Opus 88. And if I were to uncap all of these, So obviously this one, not a good comparison for this. But comparing it with something like that, and you can also see the difference between the number 6 nib versus the number 5 nib. So lining them all up to the bottom of the nib, you can see that it is actually shorter than the Pilot Metro, and it is shorter, obviously both of them are shorter than the Opus 88 Bella. All right. So with that, thank you so much for watching, and let me know if you have this pen in the comments below, or what you think about this pen, if you have it or if you plan to get it. All right, ciao.